Hello and welcome to all of our gold delegates from around the world. I'm Fiona Lang-Sharp, IBCLC Director of Communications and MC here at Gold Learning. Well, it's my absolute pleasure to be sitting with Dr. Marjan Jones here tonight. Well, it's my evening, but not her evening, let me tell you. She's going to be telling you where she is in the world in just a moment. And of course, she's going to be talking about the Michelangelo at Work tongue tie and oral facial myofunctional development at our up and coming tongue tie symposium. Now, this symposium is going to run over 2 days, which is really exciting. September 16th and 17th. If you're looking at your screen right now, you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner the announcement pod, and that's got some more information on there. You'll be able to register for this conference right now by going to our Gold Learning website. You can find all the details on there. And of course, you can catch up with what's happening with all the things right up until the conference on our Gold Learning Facebook page and Instagram and Twitter and all those other places as well that many of you I know like to be. So with that, of course, I would love to introduce you to Dr. Marjan Jones. Welcome, Marjan. It's great to have you here at Gold Learning.
Thank you. I feel like I need to start with g'day or something. So g'day, being from down under and all.
There you go. There
It's
you
so
go.
lovely to it's so
Oh,
lovely to join you, and I'm thrilled to be talking to you and the folks who are listening. Thank you for asking me.
yeah, no, it's wonderful to have you here. And I will say, I was going to mention the date and time that you're going to be speaking, because of course it's not the same for everybody. We forget that everyone's in a different time zone, and it's a different day for you that it is for me right now, and so it gets very confusing. But if you're on your computer, you can go to the website, and it'll tell you the time zone that Marjan is speaking in. Okay, so everyone will be in the right time and so forth and so on. And as I mentioned earlier, this is currently my evening, but yes, Marjan, where are you right now and what time is it for you
I'm
currently?
I'm in the future, Fiona. I'm in the future,
Oh,
the day after. I'm in
yeah.
Brisbane, Australia. We
Wow.
have the beautiful sunshine right out, and yeah, it's on the opposite side.
Yeah, totally, totally. I wish I could show you right now that it's pitch black outside right now, and I'm going to be getting ready for bed pretty soon here. But it's wild, isn't it, when we think about the fact that, we have this opportunity to come together as a team, and produce this great event that we're putting on, and you're going to be talking in a different time zone, and just like our delegates, I just think it's a phenomenal opportunity for everyone to come together around the world and they'll be able to listen to all these great presentations just like
Absolutely.
yours. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Absolutely, absolutely. Education is now being propelled as a result of this sort of thing, and
Oh,
both education for us as professionals and for our
hmm.
patients who have access to information and learning from all around the world. So you guys are doing a great job. It's
Well,
wonderful.
yeah, I appreciate that. I was just going to say that this particular topic, which of course is not without controversy, let's say it, because we're just going to say it out loud because that's the truth. And the reason I mean, obviously we all know is because the lacking of research and so forth and so on. But in saying that, we're certainly making a difference. You and I were talking, I'll tell people right now, you and I were talking offline about one of my clients, and we were just exchanging notes on, how this is, it's prevalent, but it's taking a lot of work. We're needing to make sure that we're educating ourselves because things are changing fast. And so I think when we can do something like this, Marjan, and we can get you, from from Australia online and talk about your, what you've been doing and your research and your work in Australia, it's fantastic because it just means that we're spreading, it around the world internationally and sharing in what's happening so that we can make good choices with our clients. So I think that's the key thing in particular, because listen, we've had webinar. Yeah, how long have you been watching webinars online, Marjan? Quite a while, right?
A long time. In fact, really interesting is that my initial learning in this area of tongue tie
Hmm.
began with webinars from your neck of the woods. And so
Right.
I have the I had the sort of joy and privilege of learning from those who have done this for longer, from the other
Mm.
side of the world. So
Right.
yeah, I think the learning continues and it never stops, and it's in all directions. And in fact, in my presentation, I'll be speaking about how truly we need to keep our eyes, ears, brain, heart all open for constant learning, from
Yeah.
everybody, including our
Yeah.
patients.
No, absolutely. That's a really good point. All right. Well, I want to rewind the clock a little bit here because I feel a bit rude now that I didn't get you to introduce yourself. But would you formally introduce yourself? Why don't you tell folks, well, we know where you're from, but what do you do and how did you get into this job and why are you doing what you're doing, perhaps? Maybe just touch on those three things there.
Okay, so I am a mother of two, firstly. That is an identity that is deep in my heart and the most prevalent in terms of my duty and role as a human being. But
Mm.
um, and a wife, of course, that as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of professionally, I am a dental surgeon. I have
Mhm.
been practicing for over 20 years. Um, in Brisbane and in Sydney. I have a history of working at the University of Queensland as a registrar and lecturer for a number of years early in my career, but the clinical work and direct contact with patients um, kind of grabbed me. And because of limited time while child rearing, I had to try and choose whether am I going to move down the path of academia at the same time
Right.
as clinical, and I ended up
Hmm.
choosing clinical because it was very flexible, and I have been working with tongue ties for all of my career. However,
Wow.
focused on infants and toddlers in the last 7 or so years.
Wow, that's incredible. That's amazing. I love what you said about your children as well. I mean, they're really for a lot of us who are parents, they're who define us and drive us and so forth and so on. And sometimes end up being the ones that open the doors for certain aspects of our careers as well, because we're, learning from them on the job, so to speak, in a multifaceted way as well. So that's really brilliant. So
In
tell
fact,
me,
it was.
yeah, go ahead,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say it was while I was treating patients and listening to symptoms, when I became in the depth of doing this work a lot more for the younger generation, that I kept having epiphanies
Hmm.
and memory return of the trauma and the challenges that I myself faced as a breastfeeding mother. And
Mm,
sometimes I would get distracted in the middle of the consult and think, this was me, and I guess I had buried and managed to move on, and managed as in inverted commas. But it's fascinating that it was through my own children and recognizing why I experienced and why they experienced what they did. Um, uh, that resulted in symptoms, and it made my work a lot more potent because I was able to pay it forward. I wasn't able to catch
right.
them early enough, but
Yeah.
I'm able to now every day pay it forward for other families that choose to
Mm.
come to us for care.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's great to know as well. I was going to ask you more about your work actually and how it's set up now. So do you have like a regular clinic? How do people reach you? What happens and all those types of things. So what happens in your day-to-day life now, Marjan, at your clinic?
I have a practice where I am there. Probably for 50% of my time there is spent on infant and toddler
Hmm.
um, consultation and treatment,
Hmm.
and probably 30% is on children and adult tongue ties, and 20% on regular general dentistry. Um, I try and maintain that as best as I can, but really this area of work, soft tissue dysfunction, which is what we'll be talking about in my
Mm.
presentation, or orofacial myofunctional disorders. These sorts of things have such far-reaching impact, and people are learning more and more about it. So this is kind of taking over the majority of my time. Fortunately, I do have other wonderful dentists who work for me and with me,
Hmm.
alongside me, and they take care of quite a lot of the dentistry, orthodontics, um, and myofunctional orthodontics and the like. So yeah, I'm loving it. I love this area. It's so potent. It's such a privilege, and I've never loved my work more than I have now.
Yeah, it's just, and this too, this the orofacial myofunctional component that we're talking about, that you're going to be talking about. I too, I'm not a specialist in this area. I just want to say that out loud. But this to me, as someone who has started to identify, and look at this closer, I tell you, it's absolutely fascinating. It's almost like for the longest time, Marjan, as an IBCLC, that this was part of the missing component in understanding and learning about what happens, in all of that, in all the fascia and the facial function. And so to me, it's brought an element of elevating. What I knew to be true, and now there's sort of an answer, there's, and sometimes, and often there's a resolve. And I've even got practitioners that work in my local area, so I'm very fortunate. I know some people may not have that, and that's got to be true of Australia, I'm sure, as well, right? That people just don't have the ability to go to possibly practitioners unless they go to a main center. Is that what you find as well?
Yeah, yeah, it's often the case. We're doing our best in Australia as we began to see these amazing results and the impact it had on families, entire families,
Hmm.
not just that child and the dyad, but entire families.
Right.
We wanted to share this knowledge because no child who is having trouble breastfeeding should be deprived of the opportunity, or the
Mm.
dyad, the opportunity to at least know that this could be an issue. So we have had a lot of regional dentists come to our courses. I don't know if
Oh,
I'm
that's
allowed to
great.
say the Tongue Tie
Oh, yeah,
Institute
for
that
sure. Yeah,
I co-founded.
absolutely. Yeah.
So myself and Dr. Dan Hansen, when he came and saw the kind of work that I did, and the results, he said, we've got to share this. And thanks to his encouragement, we started an educational institute that has now
Yes.
resulted in many dentists and lactation consultants and manual therapists, and like osteos and chiros and the like,
Hmm.
and speech therapists working from regional areas. And that's been such a lovely thing because it just makes this more accessible to the general public. They don't have to necessarily pack their bags. We do still receive patients from far and wide at my
Sure.
practice,
Yep.
but yeah, it's been really lovely to be able to offer that educational component, and to share what we're learning at this particular time. And I want to add quickly to what you said.
Hmm.
I'm not a specialist either. I want to make it clear, this is an area that's a focus of my work, but
Hmm.
I'm not a specialist.
Well, we're definitely all learning together. I feel like we're giving our audience a teaser as well, because if you're not familiar with orofacial myofunctional, this is going to be a great presentation for all of you listening in, because we're going to be learning alongside Marjan all about this and what's happening in her field and in her area. So I'm very excited that you're going to be, going to be talking about this. All right, before I let you go, I just want you to, maybe talk to us a little bit about what you're hoping people will take away from this, because you and I were talking as well about the fact you said, "Oh, Fiona, I hope this is not something that people or know." And I said, "No, no, no." So the other thing I want to tell the audience is that this is a jam-packed presentation. This is a presentation that you're going to want to listen to more than one time. I'm just saying that right now, because it really is. It's loaded up, many great pictures and videos. So I'm letting everyone know that right now. It's like a teaser for sure, but I'm telling you, it's fantastic. So you want to be sure that you show up for this one on the 17th, for most people in North America, and it'll be the next day for everyone else. But anyways,
Yes.
Marjan, what is it that you're really hoping that people will take away from this presentation?
One thing is, I hope that certainly those who are lactation consultants recognize their worth and how potent, how amazing their work is towards creating a lifelong healthy outcome for each and every person that they see. The impact of a lactation consultant's work will
Mm,
have its ripple effects the entire life for that patient. You guys probably know it, but sometimes the institutions that you work with or for, or the professionals that sometimes you're alongside, I have observed don't honor and recognize that you guys are the key players, and that if you get to say and practice your truth, the effect of that will leave its effect on future generations, because the health of that child that you're helping is going to impact their function, and with epigenetics at play, their function is going to really impact their future generations as well. But to those who aren't lactation consultants, I would hope that each and every one of us who has yet to learn about um, some of the work that you do, the biomechanics of breastfeeding, and some of the research and also learning that's going on in the clinical field, to really begin to learn from each other in all directions, and listen to and learn from what lactation consultants do. And I think what we're doing today, and what we'll be doing as part of Gold Learning
hmm.
and in future conferences, we have this multidisciplinary setting, and we have so much to learn from each other. It
Mm,
really, really improves the quality of care that we give our patients. We
so
don't
true.
step out of scope, but
Hmm.
we are aware of each other's gifts, so that we can give that patient the best possible chance for not just survival, but to thrive.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. I love your words there. Just that's fantastic. And you're right. The collaboration that we can have with each other, really does give the ability for those little ones to thrive and those families to thrive once again and give them hope, in this field for sure. Well, thank you so much, Marjan. Look at that. The time just flew
I know.
with you and I just chatting together. So that was absolutely fantastic. And I'm not going to keep you any longer. And I really again, just want to thank you for joining me here this evening. And of course, all of our audience listening in. It's been fabulous having you once again. Don't forget to join us online live. So that's one of the great things about Gold Learning. The Tongue Tie Symposium is going to be live, and you'll be able to come and actually interact with Marjan and myself on the day. You can check out the time zone, of course, on the website at goldlearning.com. Now, don't worry if you can't come live. We get it. We know that you've got busy lives, and we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to learn. So you will be able to, of course, listen into the presentations on the recorded version as well. So thank you once again to Dr. Marjan Jones for being with us here today. It's been an absolute pleasure sitting down with you. And of course, to you, our lovely listening audience, it's always great having you here, and we'll look forward to having you back soon. Bye bye everyone. We'll talk to you again.